Hello everyone, uh, a very good morning to all my students. Today in this module we have to know the second part of fundamental rights, that is the second fundamental right to freedom. In this module I have explained from article 19 to article 22, which included under the second right of fundamental, that is the right to freedom. Basically, you all know that from our previous video, you get an idea about the fundamental rights and also get an idea about the first fundamental rights of Indian Constitution. So, basically in this module, I have discussed about the each and every article of right to freedom, that is from 19 to 20. So, we have to know about the right to freedom from 19 to 20. So, from the picture I hope I give this picture to understand that freedom is very much needed for each and every living that is the living ones, living beings, whether that's a human, that's a animal, insects, anyone, because freedom is a word which everyone from human to animal, animal to insect need to live their life in a free way. But as we all are living in a society, we have to maintain some of the codes, some of ethics, some of morality to live with so many people surrounding us. Not only peoples, but so many living things surrounding us. So as you all know that human is a creature who have a very intellectual power. So for that reason, to live in a society in a proper way, we need some kind of foundation, we need some kind of limitation, we need some kind of restrictions, rules, regulation. But that does not mean that we don't need any kind of freedom. So in this article or you can say module, we have to know about that, what are the freedom as an individual in a society we get or we achieved as a citizen of any particular country. As well as with that, some of the areas you have to understand that in that areas we cannot use our that fundamental right for the basis of the integrity of this country, for the you can say that the security of the country. So let's see that in which way we include or we inculcate this right in our life or in the society, as it's a basic fundamental rights for each and every citizens, which is given or granted by its constitutions or by its government. Okay, so let's start. Now, right to freedom. See, right to freedom, we already get an idea about that. It's included right to freedom in the second fundamental rights of our country, where it's included from the article number 19 to 22. So this lot 19 to 22, this article sections come under the right to freedom. So right to freedom is nothing but it is a right which is granted by the constitution for giving the freedom to its citizens, so that the citizens live their life in a respect, in a dignity, in a free manner, so that they will not get any kind of discriminate, any kind of bounding under any society. It also contains two parts. Right to freedom are divided into two parts. As you all, I hope you all remember or you can recall from the from this part from class 9 syllabus, that in that syllabus also you get an idea about the two part. So let's see here that what are the two parts of the right to freedom. The first part is talking about the 6th cluster of freedom, which is come under only article 19. So the article 19 is known as the 6 clusters of freedom, where we get 6 types of freedoms which we are using when we are living in a society of our country. And in the second part, we have to go through with Article 20 to 22. So there's a two part. First part is Article 19, which is where we have to discuss about the 6 clusters of freedom, and from the second part, which is Article from 20 to 22, where we get more freedoms about our society. One more thing which I want to share with you about that, Article 19 to 22, that is the right to freedom. This is the second fundamental rights of our Indian Constitution, and then sometime during the time of the emergency period, when the that national emergency was declared, or some state emergency was declared, or the financial emergencies was declared. So in that time, during that emergency's timing, this right to freedom that was that is somehow suspended. This right to freedom, the fundamental rights, is not given during the time of the emergency. Now maybe the question of class 11 student may be asked that what is emergency, as many of you have this subject is very new to you, as because up to class 10 in CBSE you have to go through with the civics portion, which is very much little, the matters will be which was in there, the matter is very small, and in a very that in a not in a very details way. But as a student of the political science in class 11 higher secondary school, you get to know about each and every terms, each and everything in a very huge and in a details way, and you get this kind of things in a very huge way in the higher studies also. So what is emergency? I hope this question will be strike in your mind, that as you heard this term, but not exactly you know about this term in the perspective of political science. So about this word emergency, I will be discuss in our later videos, means in our later chapter, that is where you have to know about the that is the executive. In that part you will know about this one, but right now in a little perspective way, I will explain that emergency is a situation when the issues will so much arise in our society, in our country, that it is not controlled by some government or some executive. So in that timing, the president are declaring the 3 kinds of emergency. If the problem arises outside of the world, or that when the problem arises in the outside boundary of our country, in that timing, or you can say most of the states, in among many of the states we have issues, and the problem arises throughout our whole country, that the national emergency declared. And if suppose in a particular state some kind of political issues or some kind of any other issues will be created, and it's not that is not it is uncontrolled by the state government, in that process also the president declares state emergencies. And the third one is the financial emergency, that is see right now in a COVID-19, that is the pandemic situation, due to the lockdown procedure, lots of the business, or you say that the economical position, that is somehow are it goes down, it's went down, because that due to this lockdown, all the business, all the employment opportunities, that is somehow are shut down. So for that reason, we have right now we are going through with some kind of financial crisis. So when this financial crisis are very somehow is not unable to control, or the crisis are increase its gap, or the crisis are arises in a huge manner, then in that timing the financial crisis was declared, or it will be declared. So anyway, so I hope I give you the small introduction about the emergency, that during any kind of crisis, whether it's a political, economical, religion, communal, societal, any kind of emergency crisis will be created, and which is uncontrolled by the government, or by some executive. So in that purpose, the president can have the power to declare the emergency. Okay, I hope now you get an idea a little bit about the emergency. So during that emergency, if every people they get a right to freedom, then it's a no need to create an emergency, because in that timing people will do whatever they want to do and the problem will be arises more and more. So during the time of the emergency, right to freedom are totally suspended during that slot of period or during that time span. Okay. So now let's see the first part, that is the sixth cluster of freedom. So now what is the sixth cluster of freedom? So let's see. Please again I want to keep this in highlight, or I want to highlight it the point that please keep the article numbers or the subclause articles in your mind, or in so that it will be clear your concept and also able to write down in examination, and also will be very helpful in your higher studies. So right now the first one is 19(1)(a). Okay, so under Article 19 is lots of things. Now what is 1(a)? See, you know that whenever you are or you can say the constitution that was made in the previous time, that was created by the Constituent Assembly or the drafting committees on the situation which is based on in that timing. But I think you all are agree with me that right now the situation has so much changed. In that situation and now situation, that is so much gappings are there. The different scenarios are changed, the positions are changed, the perspective of the peoples are changed, the needs and aspiration of the society are changed. So for that reason, maybe the you know that the freedoms or the rights which was made in that timing, that will be sometime the articles will be or the laws are changed or modified. So whenever it is modified, whenever it is changed, in that timing we are not changed or we are not deleted the main article. In that main article, we are add on our new article along with the subclause. So this 1(a), 1(b) or 1(a) and something else, that is somehow are known as the subclause. So under Article 19, the first part of Article 19, in the first part it is A or the sub part which is known as the first one of the freedom. So let's see that in Article 19(1)(a), we get freedom of speech and expression. Now you all know that it's very important, you know, as a human beings in our society, we are very love to talk. We are love to express our viewpoint, what's in our mind. So you are student also very sometimes in your schools, in your when you talking with your friends, when you participate in the debate, when you wanted to keep your point of view, what happened in the society, in front of the society, you have maybe you are very much eager to give your point of view. So in that timing, whenever you give your point of view or whenever you are giving your suggestion, your advices, or you want to talk, and in that timing if I stopped you not to speak, not to express your point of view, then how you will feel? Absolutely, you are feeling very low, you are feeling very bad. So for due to this reason, and sometimes if you are not give your point of view, then the in front of you, the people who is in front of you, maybe they are doing some kind of wrong things, and with your advice, with your viewpoint, maybe that person think twice what he or she wanted to do. So your suggestion, your advice is also very much important for correcting the other side person. So for that reason, our government are giving that fundamental rights, that where we have a freedom to speak whatever we want to do, and we express our viewpoint, we express our thinking, what we have in our inside, that in front of the government. But yes, of course, one thing you keep in mind, that whatever you want to speak, that is not allowed. What I mean to say that, you know that every person of India, they have a right to freedom of speech and expression. They can speak, they can express their viewpoint, but the state can impose some restrictions on the freedom of speech and expressions and in the interest of integrity, security, sovereignty of the country, friendly relation with the foreign nation, for public order, with respect to that court. So for that reason we somehow are not using, not giving the unconditional right to speech and expression. Now what that means, suppose if I am giving you a scenario that right now we suppose India have a problem with in any country, like you all know that with Pakistan we have lots of problems, lots of disputes we have in with our country. Now as a citizen, if you are using the freedom of speech and expression by commenting the or criticizing the Pakistan government by a very that very wrong manner, then maybe your speech, your expression, your point of view will be the cause of the fighting or the civil war or the war between the two countries. So to maintaining that thing, to that to keeping the unity, to keeping the good friendly relation with our others country by seeing the situation of the things. One more example I want to give you, that during the time of any crisis, suppose there is some two religion peoples, they are fighting with each other, and then to suddenly go and express your way, and by getting a favorism by one religion rather than other, maybe that creates a more huge devastation or destructions only by your view of point. So in that timing you don't have a right to free speech and expression. So the country will give some kind of limitations that in which area you have to talk, or what are the that speech which should be published or should be come in front of the government. So that somehow are restricted. The state can restrict it in some areas of about your expression and speech. You should keep in mind, otherwise you later on you will that you will say that in my video you observe this of things and you randomly are speaking, so that it may be caused. So you have to know also the limitation as well as. Next one is that 19(1)(b). Now what is 19(1)(b)? It's a freedom to assemble. Now you all know that right now due to this lockdown, you are very eager to meet with your friends, to meet with the society, to assemble your classmates, your friends, and also as well as your teachers. But now suppose you all know that you have a right to freedom to assemble anywhere. Okay, now during this pandemic area, during this pandemic timing, if you are using this kind of assembles, this kind of freedom, then what happened? The pandemic will be spreaded along, so that's not a possible. So some restriction also needed, that where have to be assembled or why to be assembled. Okay, so right to assemble means freedom to assemble means the state granted every person the freedom to peacefully, without any using arms, you can be assembled, you can be gathered anywhere. If the surroundings will be secured, the surrounding will be situated in that situation, or the condition are good, then you have the right to assemble together, and of course without the arms and without with a peaceful manner, so that the violation will not be created, or the riots will not be started out, or public should be in a very peaceful manner, and they will be doing in a very peaceful manner. So these are the assemble freedom we have also. Next one is 19(1)(c), that is freedom to form association and unions. We all are very much like to create our own group, so that we will be doing the chit chat, or we will be doing the meetings in our own group. And sometimes we are very much love to gathering all my groups and making my own group, so that I will be the leader, I will be the that the presenter of my group. So we also have that kind of freedom in our country, that where any person they can make their own society, they can make their own unions, they can make their own party, they can make their own groups. No one can be stopping you. But of course, the state can impose restriction in the interest of the integrity, as I already told you that, explain that for the that the security of the nation, it maybe the state can not giving you the permission to create the unions. Now suppose if I am giving you an example, now you have all the rights to make unions and association. Now if you wanted to make any kind of that groups which is doing any illegal work, of course the government will not give you the permission. But yes, of course, if you make a group which is a normal group who are talking togetherly, who helping the society, or who wanted to make normal groups according to your own unions, so in that timing the state don't have any problem. But if you are doing that kind of groups, you are gathering the groups, you are making the union in an illegal process or for illegal setup or for any kind of wrong works, then in that timing the state, or in that timing the government can impose you to restrict it, to not to give a permission for making this kind of unions. As well as during any kind of riots, or during any kind of any kind of problem which is arises in the society, if you in that timing you want to make a group, in that timing also for making a peaceful maintaining the peaceful condition in our society, the government can that impose restriction on this right. Next one is 19(1)(d), under which we have freedom of movement. See, we are living in India, and just imagine if you wanted to travel from India to maybe that London, then what kind of things you needed? You need visa, you need permission of the London or UK government, you need a permission of Indian government to living our country, you need some kind of documentations, verifications, so lots of things are there. That means in a short, you need a permission for moving from one country to the another country. But if you wanted to travel, I hope you all of us in our society in a year we are traveling, we are taking a vacation, and we are enjoying our vacation with our family, friends, from one state to the another state, from one place to the another place in our own territory, right? So in that timing we don't need a permission of government for that for traveling from West Bengal to the Punjab, or West Bengal to the Kashmir, or West Bengal to the south or to the Orissa. So we have, why? Because we have a freedom, our constitution are providing us the freedom of movement, where we can move anywhere, we can travel anywhere in our own territory. But of course here also one of the reasons, one of the restrictions we have to follow, that if the area where you want to travel, that is come under the security, like if you suppose you wanted to say that I want to visit the LOC, that is I want to visit the Kargil, I want to visit the area which is restricted for the some community, I want to visit the borders where the war fighting will be going on. So it is not possible to give you the permission on that basis. So you get a permission to enjoy freedom of movement only that which is not restricted by the government, the areas which is not restricted areas. In spite of the restricted areas, you are free to move anywhere in your country. Next one is 19(1)(e), which is freedom of residence. Now what is that? You know that many of us, we have one house in, or one home in our own area, that is in our motherland, that is in our home area. That is, suppose I will give an example. As I have a home in a West Bengal, but due to my job, or due to my that my education, or due to some reason, I have to shift it towards some other state, and there I purchases, or there I make my own another home. Okay, now with this I don't need any kind of the state will not be restricted me, as I have, as a citizen of India, I have the right to freedom of residence. That means in our own territory I have a right which is not a restricted area. Beyond the restricted areas, I have the right to migrated from one area to the another area and settle down over there. That's why right now you get so much idea about these pandemic issues, where the migrated peoples, those who are their home is in another state but they are working in Mumbai, in Delhi, in so many areas, and they are right now they are shifting from their working place to their home place. So this is somehow the example of the freedom of resistance, where the people can migrate it, they can settle down from one place to the another place according to their own wish, but should not be interfere into the restricted areas or into the bounded areas which is not permitted by the government. The last one is that 19(1)(g), that is a freedom of profession, occupation, trade or business. Okay, so what is that? As a person of a country, you have full right to choose your own profession, to choose your own job sector, to choose what you have, in which area you will do your business, you will flourish your business, what kind of work you have to do. That is totally up to your freedom. But yes, of course, if you are choosing a wrongful business, that means if you are doing any kind of smugglings and you say that I have a freedom of professions, occupation, trade or business, that's absolutely wrong. Government will constitution is not permitting you to do any kind of illegal work, illegal business, to choose any kind of illegal professions. That is totally not allowed. Only any kind of legal business, legal profession, legal occupation, if you wanted to do, you are free to do that kind of things. Now maybe one question will be arises that in this chart, after E, I am not writing down over F, here I give you 19(1)(g), right? So let me tell you that the F part, that is somehow it is not under this 6th cluster of freedom, it is something else. So for that reason somehow it is not included in your syllabus. So maybe in your further studies you will know about this one. So please remember that after 19(1)(e) you have to get 19(1)(g). Please remember, don't write down 19(1)(f), and in respect of that you have write down the freedom of professional, occupation, trade or business. That is absolutely wrong. So freedom of profession, occupation, trade or business, that is come under only, that is that 1(g). Okay, now we completed the first part. Now come to the second part, that is the Article 20, where we get protection in respect of conviction of offences. What are the offences? What are the crimes a particular person do? We have some kind of freedom also given to that particular person who do crime or who commit the crime. So we have also, the constitution also have some freedoms to that person also. So what is under the 20, what we have talking about is that it protect the person from convicted more than once for the same offense. Means suppose if some person are killed one person, okay, I am giving the example, don't take it personally, but I am just giving example that a particular person somehow murdered one person. So whatever the punishment will be that person, in respect of that person, that particular person is, if they are killed more than one person or 2 or 3 person at the same time, then the punishment will be the same. So it means that that means when at the same time, if you are doing a crime, the different kinds of crime, so in that timing the punishment will be once. It's not like that for killing one person you get another punishment, for killing the second person you get more than another type of punishment, killing the third person you get another type of punishment. So a person cannot get 3 types of punishment. Okay, so for that reason it is said that a person is protected for getting more than once for the same offense. If that person are doing the same thing, so the peoples will get only one time a punishment, not more than that for the same offense. Like you know, that that person will if a particular person will somehow they are trapped and for that crime that person will get 3 years punishment, 3 years jail, that is the punishment. So it's not like that along with the 3 years the other judge who wanted to give the punishment, they also give another kind of punishment for that. So basically it is said that, you know, the person who are doing any kind of crime, they are not getting more than once for the same offense. If they are doing the same thing, they will get the punishment in a once way, not more than that. The person cannot be subject to a punishment greater than what is prescribed in law for particular any offense. You all know that in our constitution, for every crime there will be a that is, you know, that is already made that which crime the punishment, what kind of punishment will be given for which kind of crime. Okay, so everything will be prescribed, everything we have a law. So the person what they are crime, what they are commit a crime, the judge or the judicial system, they cannot be you know, give the punishment which is not prescribed in the law. So the similar punishment should be given to that particular person. See, if I am giving an example, suppose a person, whoever the person, those who are doing any kind of robbery, that against the robbery the punishment should be maybe you know, that 3 years or 10 years of that keeping in a jail. Now the person who doing the robbery in any particular bank also get that kind of punishment. A person who done this robbery in any one house, that also getting that kind of similar things. Why this kind of things? Because the judiciary are all in the judiciary laws already it is prescribed that which subject have what kind of laws. So anyone cannot give, that is a protection are given to the convicted person, that the person cannot be subjected, the person cannot be given any kind of punishment which is not included in any particular law. Next one is that you know, no person are accused of an offence shall be complained by the state to bear witness against himself. Not a single person can be you know, that will be the witness of himself against himself. Suppose I do some kind of crime and I will be not the witness of my crime, so someone else will be needed for giving the witness. So I will not at all, the suspected person are not at all be saying the eyewitness by himself. So the person who committed any kind of offense, they are not be their own witness. So these three things somehow are given under Article 20. And third one is that no person can declare as a criminal till his crime is not proved. It's you from your many of the TVs, movies, or many of the serials, you already get an idea when there is a scenario of the court or the case will going on. So we cannot say up to when the crime is not proved, we cannot say the person who was suspected, who are doubted as a criminal. After the crime will be proved, then the person will be called as a criminal. But before that, before the proving of the crime of that particular person is not known as or not declared as a criminal one. So these are some of the freedoms are given to the person who are convicted. Now we have to know Article 21. Under Article 21, we have a right to life and liberty. Liberty means freedom. So what we have in that, this Article 21 have two parts which is in your syllabus. First one is that Article 21, which is known, where we have to know that no person shall be deprived of his life and personal liberty by the state except as per the procedure established by the law. That means every person have their own freedom to live their own life, to lead their own life, to be in your personal freedom. They have a personal freedom, so no one can be that misinterpreted, no one can be that they are not deprived, they are not somehow are neglected to live their life according to their own personal liberty. But of course only due to some reason, due to some laws which is given by the state in some restricted portion or some restricted issues, in that along with that timing or along with that period, every person have a freedom to live their life according to their own choice. And later on, under Article 21A, that means the 21 article, right to life and liberty, that was somehow are modified, and under Article 21A it was given that which was introduced in the 86th constitutional amendment. This 86th constitutional amendment means the number of the modification, that how many times it is modified. So in 86th modification in 2002, it is given the under 21A that every children shall have to provided free and compulsory education, or you can say the government or the country should be providing the free and compulsory education to each and every children who are between the age of 6 to 14 years. So between the age of 6 to 14 years, every children, they have a right to get an education, and that's of course free, and which is very much necessary to get by the government. Now come under Article 22, that is the last portion of our right to freedom. Here it is given that protection against arrest and detention. Some of the freedom also given for the person who are arrested or who are under kept under behind the jail. So any person have to inform that why he has been arrested. That the police or anyone cannot become and randomly are catching arrested any person and keeping that person behind the bar or behind the jail. So every person should have to give the reason that why that person has been arrested. That's why the arrest warrant is very much needed, because that without arrest warrant is the permission where it is declared that due to what reason they are somehow are being arrested. The arrested person should also be produced before the nearest magistrate or the court within the 24 hours of arrest. If a person is arrested after giving them all the reason, then that person should be produced, should be meted in front of the nearest magistrate and the court within 24 hours. So if due to some reason that 24 hours, within that 24 hours, if that arrested person are not produced in front of the nearest magistrate court, then the court will be charged to that officer that the person who are in duty for arresting. So every person, those who are arrested, which should be produced in front of the court or the nearest magistrate within the 24 hours. And the person also have the right, the person can be kept in the custody for more than the period determined for him or her is not a thing. So suppose a person as a punishment they get imprisoned for 10 years. So according to the so he or she will be kept under the or should be imprisoned for 10 years, but any police officers or anyone cannot be kept that person for 11 years, as he or she is prescribed for 10 years imprisonment. So no person can be kept in the custody more than the period what he or she determined by the court. And that arrested person also have a right that they can consult their advocate for defending themselves. So these are some of the areas, or you can say these are some of the freedom which is given to the arrested person or to the detention person. Detention means those who are under the custody. So I hope you all are getting an idea about the second fundamental right, that is right to freedom, which is very much important for our life to lead in a society. But yes, of course, you can imagine that it is suspended in the emergency period, as because how much it is important for our life. So I hope you all understand about this right to freedom. Please go to with your NCERT book and as well as along with this video, so that you get a clear idea and don't have any kind of doubts, and get a clear concept for your examination and for your further studies also. So as a citizen, you should get a clear concept that what are our fundamental rights and what are our right to freedom. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it will be clear to you right now about what is right to freedom, that is our second fundamental rights. Thank you so much.